Ah, we found another ring, a wooden ring. Well, as long as we're doing the dumb thing by wield identifying everything, why stop now? So let's put it on and see what it does. It's a ring of stealth. Okay, let's find out in a bit more detail what that does. This ring allows the wearer to move quietly, making them more stealthy. You found it on level 2 in the dungeon. Okay, so we are now a bit more stealthy, but make no mistake, we are big, bulky and clunky, and we are wielding armor which makes a lot of noise. So we're not really a stealthy character with the ring or without the ring. Right now we are going to keep wearing it, but once we find something that is a little bit better, we're going to wield that, because we're just not sneaky characters. We don't sneak up onto enemies, we just walk in right into their face and hit them with the mail, with the flail. Scrolls and potions. So we just found our first potion on floor number 2. It's a bubbling orange potion and we have no idea what it is. So let's try and find out if one of these scrolls in our inventory, with which we have 2 of, is actually a scroll of identify. This is basically a gamble, so I'm just going to read scroll I, the Xedat Xiosu. Read. You read the scroll labeled Xedat Xiosu. It crumbles to dust. You feel blessed for a moment. It was a scroll of remove curse. So we didn't have anything cursed on us or in our inventory, so we just felt blessed, but we identified the scroll. It also tells us now in our inventory what that scroll does. So next up is scroll Quodad Haidu. Read that. The scroll crumbles to dust. You assume a fearsome visage. Nothing appears to happen. It was a scroll of fear. So this scroll will terrify enemies in a short range around you, making them flee. Very good for when you are in a bad situation, fighting multiple enemies, and you need to escape the situation when you are, for example, surrounded. So this is kind of a shame that we wasted that scroll on identifying it. Well, next up, number P, scroll Neuredweg. Let's read that. As you read the scroll, it crumbles to dust. It is a scroll of identify. It used to be in the game that you would get multiple identifies from them, but I believe it's now gone down to 1. So we are going to identify the potion. And it is a potion of lignification. A potion of lignification basically turns you into a tree. Yeah, a potion which temporarily transforms the imbiber into a animated tree with branches capable of holding weapons. So it's you turn into a tree. You cannot move, but you have a very high armor class, and you just do that in a last resort effort to find out to escape. Well, you cannot escape, but to survive a otherwise hopeless situation. And you must be hopeless to quaff one of those, because I don't believe I have found a situation yet where I didn't quaff it as a last resort effort. So let's butcher the kobold. And the kobold wasn't any good to us nutrition wise, so we didn't pick up the chunk. When we eat it, we gain no nutrition from it, so the game figures out, well, nice that you butchered it, but it's no use to you. On the other hand, we have found a glowing scale mail. Yay! We're going to pick that up, and now we have identified a scroll of identify. What jokes? We're going to read that, and we are going to identify. It is a cursed +0 scale mail. There you go. When we look in our inventory, it's now a red, which means when we wear it, we cannot unwear it until we use a scroll of remove curse. We have identified all attributes. So it's a +0 regular scale mail with no additional magic or fire resistant bonuses. Which actually means we are going to leave it here on the floor for somebody else to stumble across. We won't be wearing this one just yet. The grey one over here we're not going to bother with. I'm only going to wear and identify the ones that come around in blue. It's possible I'm missing out on some items which are better than the ones I'm currently using, but it's a lot of work and a lot of time to identify all these items, and they could be cursed on top of it. We are not going to bother. Where are you going? So it's not picking up this scroll of identify because there's enemies close by. The game wants you to kill them off first, and then auto pickup is resumed. Over there I found a bunch of arrows which I'm not gonna bother with because I don't plan on being a ranged character. So we have advanced to level 3 with killing this kobold, and every 3 levels you get to choose an attribute which you want to improve. We have a strength of 20. Right now, it's 20 strength is plenty for the items we are going to wield and wear for the upcoming levels. Intelligence is for mana magic casters. It's basically the right choice if you want to branch out into casting a spell ever. So it's greatly recommended if you want to use spells. You choose intelligence as your base choice to improve. I don't know if I want to improve my intelligence because we have a -4 aptitude for casting spells. So right now I'm going to increase our dexterity and be a little more agile with dodging. So the reason why I didn't want any spell mana points is because we have a -4 aptitude on spell casting. Fighting is almost at 4.5, and mace is still stuck at 3. So we're going to train those two until they are approximately at 7 or 8, and then we're going to switch to something else. Let's pick up the gold. And we found a Pew's potion, and we found a bread ration, which is always nice. It used to be that hunger was well a part of the game that could actually hinder your progress, but lately it's well, I don't have any problems with it anymore. So we're going to eat the chunk of gecko we just butchered. So here we have a pit, a shaft. When you walk over this, there is a chance you will jump over, and there's also a chance you will fall through to the next level. Let's roll the dice. So right now we're standing on the shaft and we haven't fallen through to the next level, which is well, which is fine. See this bat? It's very fast. We can't even keep up with it if it wants to escape. A kobold, and a worm. Let's back up because the worm is something in on itself. A worm is the most stupid way to die in dungeon crawl ever imaginable, and I almost did. Why? Because a worm is twice as slow as you are, which actually means you can take a swing at a worm, take a step back, and then the worm gets a chance to step up to you. Worms hit for large amounts of chunks of your hit points, especially at low level. So the basic strategy you want to do is take a step back, hit the worm. Ooh, the worm bites you. I did that absolutely wrong. As you can see, it took a fair big amount of hit points from us. So we're going to wait for it to step up, which it does now. We're going to swing at it for a large chunk of its hit points, and we're going to take it a step back. It moved at the same speed with us, so we're going to take a step back. We're going to wait until it catches up. We're going to swing at it, and we are going to kill it. So we just killed the worm, and we need to heal back up onto full health. We'll do that by pressing the number 5 key on the numpad, which will rest until healed. So you can see that we now have a full bar of health again. Okay, let's advance in exploring. There's nothing really of interest on the floor to examine or pick up just yet. Let's check our inventory real quick. The dagger on F, we can drop that. We don't need it. We actually have a number of slots which we can carry. This increases with strength, I believe. The more strength you have, the more slots you have available. I'm not really sure, but I think it worked that way. The whip, it wasn't any better than we had, so we're going to drop that as well, freeing up a slot. The jewelry we are wearing, we want to keep that. All the scrolls are, of course, are of interest to us. We have a bunch of potions and some rations. Nothing really out of the ordinary just yet, which we need to focus on. Some more money here in the corner, which is always nice. When you are exploring the dungeon, you will find some shops every now and then, and in those shops you can spend your money on items that you want. Sometimes the items are very good, and sometimes well, you have to be a bit of lucky. It's all randomly generated. Some more gold, and we are getting hungry again. I don't believe we have any chunks of butchered food, so we're just going to wait until we either find something we can kill and eat, or until our hunger level reaches starving for us to eat something else. When you reach starving, by the way, you are going to faint, and when you faint, your opponents, if they are there, of course, will get free turns hitting you, and if you walk around starving long enough, eventually you will die. So I think we have discovered most of the floor right now. I'm going to put it into auto discover. It stops because we are very hungry right now, which is not starving. Yeah, we have finished exploring, so I'm going to find the nearest way down, and we're going to travel. Let's first kill the giant gecko, see if we can get some food out of that. So we are going to eat chunk, and that's it. Our hunger is gone. And because we were very hungry, we are already hungry again. Okay, here's our first humanoid. No, not our first humanoid, we already count goblins, but our first orc. Orcs are a bit more powerful than the humanoid characters we have encountered. They also have an armor class and an evasion. It's an ugly subterranean race. Orcs combine the worst features in human, pigs, and several other unpleasant creatures. They tend to run in packs or in mobs, and delight in outbursts of insane violence. So the thing to remember is that these guys never ever really come alone. This one is wearing a war axe and wielding a ring mail. When we kill it, it will drop those items for us. So we're going to wait on the stairs to see if it brings any more of his friends with him. Apparently it's not, so we let it come walk to us, and then we're going to kill it. You can also butcher orcs, which we are going to do right now. Thank you very much. And we are going to quench our hunger. On the floor we find a war axe and a ring mail. They both have no real attributes to identify them as special, so I'm going to leave them alone. And we have found a wand of teleportation. Wands work in the game. You need to zap them. You zap wands. Oh no, you evoke wands. Sorry, that's the V. And this one will this one translocates the object that you are targeting. Basically, you will be targeting yourself to get out of nasty situations using this. A strip of bacon, And let's discover some more of the dungeon. And again, another scroll. We have now 2 of those scrolls. And the bed. And another potion, a sedimented white potion, unidentified for us. And a scroll of identify with a scorpion, and the scorpion is labeled in red, which basically always means it's trouble. A scorpion, a loathsome arachnid, armed to the teeth. Its body is covered in thick carapace. Its tail is tipped by a venomous sting, and its forelimbs are equipped with a pair of sharp, grasping claws. This thing is unpleasant in all ways. It has armor class, it has evasion, it looks extremely dangerous. It itself is susceptible to poison, but we are not dealing any poison damage just yet. So basically the game is telling us, beware of what you're stepping into. This is not an easy opponent. We are going to not fight this one if we can help it. It's following us, so we need to figure out a way that we can lose line of sight and lose the creature. So I hope that we have... No, we did not lose it just yet. So in dungeon crawl, it's not always advantageous to yourself to always find everything. God damn it, it found us. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to try and fight it. So the first hit connected, and connected for severe damage. You block the scorpion's attack, you furiously retaliate, you headbutt the scorpion. So that's our special attack. The scorpion stings you but does no damage. We are getting away with a poison attack right there. You block the scorpion's attack. The scorpion is almost dead. It got a hit in, but it did not poison us. And there you go. We killed the scorpion and we managed to get to the next experience level. Your fighting skill has increased to 5, your maces and flails has increased to 4, and you have reached level 4. We gain a bit of dexterity and a bit of the intelligence. So we are resting until healed and continuing our exploration of the dungeon. Okay, we have 2 scrolls of identify and some potions for which we don't yet know what they do. Usually potions are beneficial, so it's quite important to figure out what they are for. So we are at least going to identify number Z. It's a potion of curing, which will basically cure poison and other kind of negative status effects. And we're going to use the last potion, the last scroll, to identify another one. There you go. We already identified a potion of mutation. That doesn't happen very often, that you find the potion of mutation, the most dangerous one, so early on in the level. A potion which does very strange things to you. So basically this means that we can quaff identify all the other potions if we want, because we have identified the most dangerous potion in my mind that exists in the game. So here we are finding another potion of curing because we identified that one. So now we have a bit of a trade-off to think about. We can use scrolls of identify to identify items, or we can use them on the potions, because when you quaff it in a situation that you don't know what it is, well, you're basically rolling the dice, a bit of Russian roulette, if it will help you, yes or no. But if you quaff identify, you will lose the potion as well. So you can find a potion of curing and then not have any potion of curing left. But on the other hand, if you don't know what it is, so yeah, you get the basic problem with this. So the orcs travel in packs. We have 3 of them, and we're trying to get them into a little kill box. I hope the third one down here isn't actually bright enough to walk around. If it does not file into place behind the second. So let us deal with with the 3 orcs we have in front of us. Hopefully the one won't walk around. Let's see. So I believe, yeah, we killed the first one, so the third one is filing in. So that's not a problem, it's not walking around, and we killed them. There is a whip, a chainmail, a flail, and a leather armor. Basically, we're not interested. Let's quickly explore some more of the dungeon. We're hungry again. I don't think we have anything to eat. No, no, no. Oh, there is some food. Hello, food. The kobold won't give us any nutrition. The goblin will. So we're going to eat one of its chunks. And over here we have something special. It looks like another potion of mutation. Let's pick it up. And there we have our first altar. In Dungeon Crawl, you can align yourself with various kinds of gods, and they will, when you do stuff for them, basically killing enemies, you will gain piety, and piety will let you. The more piety you have, the more special abilities of the gods you will be able to use. This is the god Ashenzari. Okay, let's see what he does. So we're going to pray on the altar, and then it's going to tell us what kind of god this is. It's Ashenzari the Shackled. While it seems inconceivable that the divine should be shackled, Ashenzari is just that, bound to the sky for eternity. The unbudging god is all-knowing, all-seeing. Devoted worshippers are allowed to grasp threads of this knowledge and foresight, but be warned, to Ashenzari power and blessing and curse are all the same thing. So this is flavor text. When we switch to what it actually does for you, it will tell you a bit more in depth what abilities you will be gaining from when you worship him. Ashenzari exhorts followers to garb themselves in curses, so you need to wear cursed armor, and provides rewards for time spent using cursed armor, jewelry, and weapons. Followers will soon be granted the ability to scry through walls. Okay, so you will be able to walk through walls. Ashenzari will passively grant followers increased skills depending on how cursed they are by the equipment. Yeah, we're not going to go for this god. So do you wish to join this religion? No, thank you very much. There are plenty of gods built in the game, and we are going to use one that more suits our playstyle. A bit more about the build-up of the game. The game levels are randomly. An orc priests. So again, encounter 3 orcs and an orc priest. An orc priest has the special ability to smite, and usually when you when you are battling against a mage, or when you are a mage yourself, you're casting a fireball. And for example, a fireball has a path which it needs to travel. So if there's something between you and your target, it will hit that. Priests can smite. Smite is an ability which is tile placed. So this priest can smite us from all the way back there without hitting the 2 orcs in between them. That's the thing that makes priests so scary, and especially at our low level. So we need to think about this, how we are going to tackle this. I think I'm going to back up and walk around the corner and hopefully lose line of sight for a bit. Oh well, we're just going to take him head on. We are a Minotaur fighter, for God's sake. We have lots of hit points compared to the other ones. We are really tough, so yeah, just eat it. Rest until healed. So I was telling you about the game. It's the levels themselves are procedurally generated. So the maps themselves are never the same. But the dungeon build, it does follow a specific wayline, and you can look at the dungeon what you have discovered with the dungeon overview. And right now we have only discovered dungeon the 3rd level out of 15. So there are several different dungeon levels. You have the dungeon, which goes from level 1 to level 15. Then you have the depths, which goes from 15 to 18, I believe. But in between, you will find a lot of what they call branch dungeons. They are not always the same. You will get randomly several. So you can either have swamp, or you can have, I don't know what the other one is called. I should look it up. But there are several branches that aren't in the game all the time, and it just randomly generates which ones you have. Okay, here we have our first special boss on level 3, and it is Natasha. And Natasha is a servant of life and death. It's a magical cat, and it's a cat with 9 lives, if I remember correctly. Once a powerful wizard's familiar, Natasha was abandoned after her master was consumed by the necromantic forces he sought to control. Now she patrols the dungeon, taking a bloody vengeance with spell and claw upon any adventurer who crosses her path. This cat doesn't have 9 lives, but just one death isn't going to be enough to put her down for good. Yeah, this one will pop back up a couple of times after you kill it. She's got no armor class to speak of, a little bit of evasion, but more to the point, it can cast magic. It has the ability to cast magic darts, call imps on us, slow us for 50% and conjure flame. All in all, she looks very dangerous. She can see invisible, so she already called an imp on us, which is the Crimson Imp right here. And we have an orc to deal with as well. Now remember, orcs don't always come alone, so it's quite possibly that we are not just fighting 3, but more mobs this time. How are we going to tackle this? We are at full health. And we have nothing really. We can quaff a potion of might when things get dire. I think our location is fine. Natasha has to cast a spell, the magic dart, which follows a path, so she cannot cast it at us without hitting the orc. So that's the orc down, and level gained for us. Natasha is now right in front of us, and she should go down very quickly because she's a caster. Yeah, there you go. She's dead already. And because we have killed Natasha, her summoned imp will disappear as well. What did we have on the floor? Oh look, it's a plate armor. And a plate armor is always better than the armor we are wearing right now. So we're going to pick that up. We're going to look in our inventory for the plate armor. Why don't I have the plate armor in my inventory? Quite possibly because I did not pick it up. Yeah. B. Inventory. There it is. The plate armor is capital D. So we are going to look at it. It's a base armor of 10 and it has an encumbrance rating of 18. So we're just 2 strength over the top of this armor. Wearing mundane armor of this type will give the following AC. It has 11 armor class and an armor rating of 10. And the one we are wearing right now, B, is an armor rating of 6 and an armor class of 6. So it really is a lot better, and we should be able to wear the plate armor without any real penalties for our encumbrance, I think. So we're going to identify this. We finished putting on our plate armor without any negative notes, so it should be. And as you can see, our armor class now dropped to 14, but on the our evasion dropped down to 3. I'll change them out again. So armor class 14, evasion 3 with the